Hi, I'm Kathy Jaskolski from kathyjaskolski.com. For well over 20 years, I've taught yoga, owned a yoga studio, did yoga teacher trainings, and created workshops that facilitated change. And one of my favorite wisdom teachings of yoga is that at the crossroads of life, we have an opportunity to choose despair, unworthiness, judgment, or joy, possibilities, truth, and faith. About 2 years ago, a dear friend of mine and an incredible yoga teacher was sharing with me that she'd been to a silent retreat that she absolutely loved that was run by two women who were so deeply interconnected with each other and the teachings that it was one of the most powerful experiences she'd ever had. And she asked if I would like to co-facilitate a silent retreat with her. And that was an interesting crossroad for me because I watched this part of me that's very familiar, start to feel unworthy and judge the fact that I'd never even been to a weekend silent retreat. So how could I possibly teach one? Right next door, in the road right beside it, was this whisper of possibility, and the truth in that whisper was, yes, of course I will. And so as my girlfriend said, I pulled on my big girl panties and went to work over the next 6 months with this teacher, and we co-created an incredible silent retreat that was extremely successful. So much so that we actually scheduled a date in October of this year, the 23rd through the 25th, to do it again. Recently, she called, and as we were talking about it, she said, well, I really called to share with you, Kathy, that it's impossible for me to co-create this retreat with you this year. There's some obligations I have that conflict with that date, and I just can't see it happening. I was at a crossroads again, that place where I could collapse and feel unworthy, start judging how I'd showed up last year and making meaning out of that, which might not even be true. Or I could pause and be present in this space or void that was left with us not teaching. In that void were all kinds of possibilities. Not doing it at all, doing it all by myself, or finding another partner. Now, staying in that void for a while was painful because I had to feel into, once again, my fears and, quite frankly, my sadness that we weren't going to be working together. Almost this deep wondering, well, can it be as good as it was last year? But if you stay in the void long enough, I also found like I started to pull on that thread of possibilities, and immediately I knew who I wanted to partner with this year. When I started to tell her the story, she said yes before I could even ask because she already knew she wanted to do it. And the couple of weeks since she said yes, the way that we have co-created and come together, the ideas that are bubbling up are so very aligned with each of us, with the two of us together, and also with the climate of what's going on in the world today. So we feel this magnetic vibration already attracting in all the people that we need and want to share this with and more. Yoga tells us that at the crossroads we have a choice. We have a choice to lean into the familiar. And for many of us, the familiar is self-doubt, collapse, feeling of unworthiness, and with that can come sadness and anger and depression. Or we have a choice to be present in the void, to open to the incredible possibilities of something new, to not know what it's going to turn out like, to not always be right along the way, but to follow our hearts. And what happens when we follow our hearts is that truth and faith will always reign. And with that comes joy. If you'd like to join me for joy-filled yoga classes, I offer classes at stillwatersyoga.com on Wednesday mornings at 9 and Saturday mornings at 9. You can find me there. Until then, with deep gratitude for all my teachers and all the wisdom teachers of yoga, I say, Namaste.